Welcome to the Chain Out podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Jeremy and Daryl, or is it Statler and Waldorf?
Exactly.
Welcome, everybody, to Season 2, Episode 76. And did we decide who's Statler and who's Waldorf?
I don't think we ever did.
No.
They're both just as grumpy as each other, but you're the positive one. I'm the grumpy one. I have the RBF.
Yeah, there we go. If you know, you know. Is that what they say?
There you go.
Yeah. So welcome to Chain Out. We are Statler and Waldorf as well, and we played in our first doubles tournament over the weekend, Daryl.
We did.
Yeah.
It's my first ever doubles tournament. I've never played doubles.
I've played doubles rounds, like your Sunday pickup doubles or a Friday before a tournament random doubles, but I've never done it in a competition.
Yeah, well, we should say that it was the USDGC doubles qualifier is what we played in.
Edmonton Tag Team Championships, I think, was the title.
Yep.
Yeah. How did it go? Should we?
Well, we went out and practiced. We went out and did a practice round, and we kind of went through the holes. Okay, we should get a birdie on this one. That's a par. That's a tweener hole. We're not too sure. So we calculated it in our skill set that we were looking at about -7 is where we were aiming for.
Well, yeah, like -7, I think we decided was kind of a perfect round for us.
Yeah.
So overall, over 2 rounds, we thought -14. And then we came on the show and I set an over under, which I realized later I should have done it by a half point. Because what happens if you hit the number?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I did an over under of -10 is what I thought we would get.
Yeah. Over the 2 rounds.
Over the 2 rounds. That would be our total. And how did we do?
The first round didn't go exactly according to plan, but I mean, that's why you never plan for things.
No, exactly.
Or you should plan for things, but not set goals.
Yeah, we started out on hole 6 at Rundle. We won't dive deep for people who aren't familiar with it, but it's a little bit of a tougher hole in the long position. We thought we can get this par.
And I don't even think the length of the hole, the toughness of the hole was the issue. It was first hole nerves.
Yeah, it
because
was
we missed the
jitters.
easy putts, both of us.
Yeah, and took a bogey on that first hole, and then worked our way through, got some birdies, had a good time, had two great partners in Mason and Jason.
Yeah.
And what were they? They were the tree something.
Tree huggers?
Something like that.
Tree wizards? No, not tree wizards. Tree huggers, I think. Something like that.
But had a great round with them, and we finished with a -3, so that was not quite close to our -5 projection. But then we found out, you know what you need is you need to take a break at lunch, enjoy some sun, and
consume
3 hot dogs. Not 1, not 2, but 3. The number 3 hot dogs. And when you have 3 hot dogs,
you go out and you play better in the afternoon.
Turns things around. I would have thought all of those nitrates and sodium would have had us falling asleep, but
yeah, no, apparently not for us.
No.
Maybe I don't know. Something about afternoon rounds for us. Maybe we were just getting all the nerves and the jitters. I mean, it's not even nerves and jitters, but let's get all that bad play out in the morning. We definitely came back and played a lot better in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I think another reason was we had great players to play with in the morning in card mates, but Sam Western, one of our great listeners in Patreon, I believe so. If he's not Patreon, he's over there. Yeah, he's on Patreon. Yeah. Him and his doubles partner David were there with us, and it was such a good time. They got to see the full Statler Waldorf. When you see us on the podcast now, we're fun, we're jokey, we're all of that, but we were having a good time giving each other the gears.
Oh yeah.
And I think it ended up leading to good play because we ended up finishing -6 in the second round, and that was 7 birdies and a bogey, I believe, is the way we did it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Which hole did we bogey in the after? Oh, it would have been 13.
Yes, when we bogeyed 13. So with that, we had some good putts. You had some great drives, some great approaches. Just turned out to be a good round. We finished -9. So anybody who was betting on us to go over -10 or be less than -10, we were over. It's always crazy with the negatives, but you know what
exactly.
I mean. We didn't quite get the goal.
We're under the over.
Yeah, exactly. And we should shout out some people that were out there. Hey,
yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, we can shout out the people that won.
Mm-hmm.
So we finished -10
over 2 rounds.
Over 2 rounds. The winning score, a crazy -22.
Yes.
That was put down by White Lotus. That was Keenan Menzies and Maverick.
Yeah, and as soon as we saw that they were in the tournament,
we knew they were the team to beat.
I don't think there was anybody at the tournament that didn't. If they were betting on White Lotus to
for
win.
Sure. Yeah. And then a surprise second. Should we say a surprise second? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, a surprise because anytime that you have a team where you've got a great player and a bit of an anchor, and they come in second.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and that would be Tyler Edwards and our good buddy Mark Thompson. Just kidding, my friend. But they came in -20. They shot 2 rounds of -10, and then third place was also -20.
Yeah.
But then I think they just had like a staring contest or something. They didn't want to go to extra holes to play off for second place.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the qualification was there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But that'll give them an opportunity to head down to Winthrop to the USDGC course to play in the World Championship tag team doubles.
The people who won last year, they went down and actually took up the offer and went down to play it, and they had a great time down there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't from what I heard that they didn't play as good as they thought. Well, not as good as they thought. They knew they weren't.
What were they going to think on that course?
Well, they knew that once they played, I think they played the first and second round.
Yeah.
Knew they weren't going to get any further, and then it opened up the rest of the weekend for them to go and play other courses.
Exactly, and I think you can make a whole week out of it because it's the USDGC week. So you could stick around, you could watch tournament. Maybe for me, I would probably try to see if a player needed a caddy or something like that. I'm sure everybody wants to do that, but I would, or even flag.
Yeah.
See if I could get hit by a disc trying to jump up and over it when it comes by.
Right. Yeah, too soon.
Too soon. There you go. But what about, that's what happened on the MA1 side. What about the FA1 side?
FA1 was a tight fought battle, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Tight all the way to round 2, and it finished tied after 2 rounds. So that wasn't enough to separate them.
And there was 2 teams, right?
Yeah, 2 teams of FA1. Lindsay Monderman and Jana Olsen, friends of the show, listeners and watchers of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And also Cheyenne and Eden were out there as well.
Right.
So they went to the playoffs.
They did.
They were going to play a loop on 1, 2, 3, 18, I think.
Yeah, and I think we were all sitting up at the tournament central. We didn't even know at first that it went to a playoff. We were just kind of waiting around going, what's going on? Or, are they finished up, wrapping up? And then we heard they were in the middle of a heated playoff.
Right. And you went and tagged along and kind of walked around with them for a couple holes.
Yeah, well, for one hole, I got there when they were on their 7th playoff hole.
Wow.
So they went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and they were back to 1. And 1 is a Mando on the right. It's a big dog leg right, so you got to throw a forehand or throw something super understable on backhand. And what happened was we had 1 disc sitting on the left, 1 disc sitting on the right. That disc on the right was just behind a tree. They had the putt first. They hit cage and dropped down. Eden and Cheyenne put the disc in the basket, got the win.
Nice.
And not only did the winners get the win and get a chance to go down to Winthrop, they also got something else pretty cool, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They because it was nicknamed the Edmonton Tag Team Championships. Part of the winning prize was 2, I'm going to say kids.
Yeah, they were. I don't think they were going to fit anybody.
No, exactly. WWE belts. So they had we at the end we took the photos. We had some slinging it over their shoulder, tried to get it around the waist, but I don't think they were ever going to get done up. But yeah, made for great pictures anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you can see all that up on the Edmonton Disc Golf Association Instagram and Facebook accounts. You can see pictures of the winners with their belts, and it was a good event. I didn't do it last year. We talked to Brock about it, the organizer, the tournament director.
Yeah.
But after doing it this year, would you go back and do it again next year?
Yeah, I had fun playing 2 rounds of golf in a day.
Yeah. Would you do it with the same partner?
Moving on.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good.
Maybe. I don't know. I think maybe I should ask you that question.
Oh, of course. I had a lot of fun playing with you. And I think we do complement each other because there was rarely a time where we both threw a bad shot. Right. There was a couple times where we both couldn't make the putt. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But as for throwing off the tee, if one of us was slightly off, the other one made up for it. So I think that was a good way to go.
So I just wanted to jump into the chat here while we're finishing this.
Yeah, go ahead.
And because we had a question, and also I just want to give a shout out again. So Doc's joined us in the chat again, and I found out a little bit of something about Doc.
Oh, did you?
I did. Now, for those people that don't just watch the Chain Out podcast, maybe you watch another podcast, maybe you watch Tour Life.
Right.
People might have known. Maybe I should have had Doc on board when I was applying, but I did apply, Doc, if you care. I did apply for the producer position because I kind of produce this podcast as we're going live.
Kind of. You're totally responsible for production.
Only, the production side of it, I guess. Yeah. But Doc is a moderator on the Tour Life channel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Podcast. Yeah.
He's got that magical wrench by his name, does he?
He does. Yeah, I seen that, and that's what I mean. I hope I'm there's not too many Doc Zens out there, so I guess he was that. But he wanted to know, what was your MVP, not the brand, disc of the tournament?
Oh, well, Doc, if you listen to the podcast from my side as you get familiar with it, I have a couple discs that have been my go-tos lately, and one of them is my Mantra. The other one is my Trail. So if I was to think about them, I'm going to say it was probably my Mantra, and especially as we got towards the end of the tournament, because I got a little more control of it and we needed some straight shots, and I was able to put some out there with it.
Yeah. You love your Mantra. And I love it when you throw your Mantra, because I know 99% of the time it's going where you aim.
Yes.
The Trail, not so much.
No. And specifically, if you want me to narrow it down a little more, is I have a Canadian FPO player, Karen Martell, signed Mantra, and that's the one that I throw the most.
Yeah. For me, it would have been the I'm just starting to figure it out, is the Star Halo Gorgon.
Oh, yes. You had a couple of great throws.
I can now manage to get it to flip up, and I know how much hyzer to put on to get it to flip up and travel straight.
Right.
Before I wasn't putting enough, and it was always turning over too much and hitting trees or whatever. But now those gaps, I can get it. That's I would almost say it's one of my straightest drivers.
Yeah. You had good control over it. Like you said, to hyzer flip a disc on command. For us as MA40s who are still 850-ish rated and trying to figure things out, that's a good skill for us to be learning.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyone else to shout out in the chat?
We got a lot of people in the chat. We've got Dylan. He's in the chat.
Hey, Dylan.
Sonia. Obviously, we got Doc in there as well.
Awesome. And if
Brendan's
anyone's
joined in as well.
Perfect. And anybody else in there who's maybe watching but hasn't dropped a comment, let us know. Say hi.
Yeah. Chat amongst yourselves. That's what the chat's all about.
Exactly. Now, another thing we wanted to bring up here is She's Up First is happening this weekend. Big CWE tournament in Edmonton at Hermitage Park. 72 spots available. 71 are filled, Daryl, since I last looked.
Yeah.
So 71 spots filled. There's one spot left for one lucky lady there to head down and be part of this tournament, which is going to be now, I think, the biggest Canadian women's only tournament.
If not tied with the biggest, because I
Yes.
think Kristen had mentioned there was one that was 72 before,
Okay.
but whether that was a CWE event, I'm not too sure. I should
And
imagine
whether it
already
was a
would have been.
mixed event, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But
But
it's
yeah,
going to be a great tournament.
and also too, the two of us are going to be there volunteering. You're going to be doing some caddying for round 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to be set up at hole 10, which is Wally's Way, the infamous triple double Mando. I'll be there to help you with the rules. I'll be there to hand out candy. I'll be there to hopefully do a couple little quick snip question answer.
Yeah. Be
things.
prepared. Yeah, exactly. Going to
Yeah.
ask some questions, get some answers, put a montage. Well, then it comes down to me to put them together, probably. Maybe.
Yes. So if you're going to
You
come
might try your
down,
hand at it.
yeah, if you're at the tournament, be ready to hopefully let me know what your favorite disc is. Tell me why you want it or what you like most about being at this tournament. Those kinds of things. We're going to try to compile all that information if everything works out well and put out some good promo videos for She's Up First and grow it even more next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you're not playing in the tournament, head on down on Friday. There's an amazing kind of meet and greet and get to know each other thing happening. You went to it last year?
Yeah, me and Sonia went last year. We had bingo. We had some beers by a fire pit.
Yes, it is actually licensed
Yeah.
area, that area at the park.
The barbecue area, the seating area. Yeah.
So check that out on Disc Golf Scene. It's at Hermitage Park, and you can get the hours and everything else for the She's Up First side of it. And on top of that, we're all about Canadian disc golf, and we got some big Canadian FPO players coming to this one from
We
local
do.
from
Yeah.
Alberta. Hey,
Doc was wondering whether Miss Frisbee's is going to be there, but unfortunately not. She's back out east.
she's heading to Champions Cup actually. So
oh, she?
yeah, Champions Cup
Okay,
with
I
her,
haven't seen
Sophia,
anything. Yeah.
and
I know Sophia.
Gabby.
Gabby's going to be there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chantel. So unfortunately, Miss Frisbee's won't be here for this one, but who
Listen,
will?
Yeah, we've got some great FPOs from the Western Canadian part of the Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We have got a guest that we had recently on the show. Amber Chason is going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah. Another guest of the show, Joe Henderson, is going to be here.
Oh, there you go.
Another guest of the show and
Really?
co-TD,
Yeah.
Kristen Swirls,
Really?
as well as Zoe Lorenz-Bozer. And previous guest of the show, Terry Hong.
There you go. So you've got all these famous, amazing FPOs who just happen to be Chain Out guests as well. You can meet them and they will be more than happy to sign a disc for you. I know that Joe's got her own discs. I know that Terry's got hers. I'm not sure if anyone else does, but they do. And what else? They'd always probably give you a little tip in that, and more than happy to welcome you to the disc golf world if you're new to it. So
Yeah.
All right. And the last thing I kind of wanted to bring up, Daryl, too, was a couple weeks ago, we had Clea Adair
Yeah.
and we had Chance Stad on the show.
Yeah.
We were talking about Smith Lake Farms disc golf camp that's happening in June out on the island there around the Comox area. And I noticed that they're up to 62 people
Yeah.
registered.
I think they were maybe just under 50 when we started promoting them, talking about them.
Yeah, before we had Nate Sexton on and Sophia and everybody else, which was amazing. Those are great things.
Oh, yeah.
Another great thing is I saw that maybe a person from the Chain Out podcast is going to be at this event.
Somebody, yes, I'm going to be there. I've signed up officially now. You think, our chain out battles, I've been winning the last couple that we've had?
Last 5 or 6.
Yeah, a few. Once I get all these tips in me from, I'm going to throw a forehand like Nate Sexton. I'm going to have Sophia's control
Yes.
and Thomas's power.
Okay.
You're not going to stand a chance, Jeremy.
Well, can you do me one favor, though?
Okay, what?
Maybe bring me back some signed discs. Maybe one tip. Just bring me back one of these amazing tips you learned.
One tip and a disc.
And a disc? But there's like 4 amazing people there.
So you want a Sexton Firebird,
Yes.
you want a Sophia
Sophia
J,
J, yep.
or an Eagle L.
Maybe another.
Eagle L is a great disc. Yeah.
If Thomas had a mantra, because he is Thought Space. I know he doesn't,
Yeah,
but maybe
I
he
think
could
his is-
do one for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, he likes the putter. He likes the Nerve,
Oh, there you
the
go.
Ultra. I can't remember which one he plays with, but and then I'm sure Chance is going to have a disc there too. So
Definitely.
I had to take an extra suitcase.
And he's
like you
always got
said.
the coolest stamps on his, always some sort of mad scientist type thing,
Yeah.
or Cthulhu or that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to get to our guest, but we want to definitely shout out our sponsors. We have 2 sponsors for our show. That is BR Disc Golf and Cardinal Disc Golf. So if you use the code CHAINOUT at checkout at either location, you'll get 10% off your order. With BR Disc Golf right now, we were talking to Brendan and he was letting us know that putting league's wrapped up. We're getting into regular season league, but he said, stay tuned. If you've got a club in Alberta and you want to be part of the Alberta-wide putting championships for this year, which will happen in the fall, start thinking about it now and get in touch with him and he'll get you included. He's always got prizes for the winners and he takes scores from every putting league and compares them against each other. So even if you only have a 2 or 3 person putting league, you can still participate against the whole province, which is cool.
Absolutely.
And he also said that there's a new Trash Panda drop that's coming and he might have something up about that soon. And then when it comes to Cardinal Disc Golf, if you hadn't heard, Gannon Burr is now part of the team and his 2 new jerseys dropped. And we're going to show you real quick what they look like. We've got the home team jersey, which I'm thinking Gannon's from Iowa.
Yeah.
Red and yellow.
There you go.
Iowa's really close to Missouri. Missouri is where Kansas City Chiefs are. I think that's why his home team jersey is those colors.
I think so. And I think out of the 2, I think I like that one because it's bright.
Okay. Yeah, that's good colors. And then he's got his ice crystals. And that one there, I like the look of that one if because that way I can kind of get up on the tee. I'm cold as ice.
Yeah, oh right.
Yeah.
You have that's going to be your walk-on
Ice in
song.
my veins. That's right. So if you want to pick up either of those jerseys, you can use our code. And we actually have a twofer for you, right, Daryl?
You love a twofer.
I love a twofer because we still have the Vanish and the Reactor from our Gyropalooza box that we were going to give away to the first 2 people to use our code to pick up a Cardinal jersey. But that's going to be an LTO, limited time offer.
Yeah.
Totally not going to be out there forever. So take advantage of it while you can. And then, of course, the last thing we want you to do is stay tuned. Join us for our Patreon episode that happens after Chain Out. There's a few cool things that are going to happen tonight. It's Daryl and I. We're going to find out what actually counts as an ace. We got something called Mid-Range Madness to talk about. And also, I might look a little different on that one, won't I?
Yeah. We've already had one comment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody saying, oh, the beard is still here.
Well, that's because we're in Chain Out mode.
Exactly. Somebody didn't pay attention to the rules.
So
head over to Patreon, sign up. You'll see our latest post. Jeremy is going to shave off the beard.
This is coming off tonight.
But not fully.
No.
There is a list of 12 different faces. Pick which one, or not faces, 12 different designs of beard. Pick which one you think Jeremy should shave his beard into before it goes completely. And I'll tell you right now, the leading bid right now
is which?
Is one called the Gunslinger. So cold as ice, Gunslinger.
I love it. Well, here's the thing too, is if you want to see what that looks like, you're going to have to check it out on Patreon because that is where it's going to live. And I don't know if you're going to release that episode. Maybe we will. We'll see.
I think we got to keep some things for the
for the Patreon. We'll see. Well, they're getting to choose, so that'll be awesome. But let's get to our guest, Daryl.
Let's do it.
Thanks for waiting with us and top a show there, guys. This week's guest is from Guelph, Ontario.
Sorry, Doc just said, "Can we shave Daryl in it?"
I don't think I've got the fine motor skills to make that happen, but
maybe we'll get a stencil next time and we'll dye it.
Oh, that'll be okay.
Yeah.
Once a year, maybe this is what we add is the Jeremy beard.
There you go. That was good.
This week's guest is from Guelph, Ontario. We talk about all the hats our Canadian disc golfers wear to help support the sport we love, and tonight's guest is no exception, Daryl. When he isn't playing the occasional PDGA tournament or league, he's part of the PDGA Youth and Education Committee. He recently joined the Canadian Disc Golf Association, and he is the tour director for the Little Hyzers Tour for junior disc golfers. We're excited to chat about all of this and more. So join us in welcoming Ryan Bevilacqua to the show.
It's a great show, guys. I love disc golf. I love talking about disc golf, and this is going to be fun.
There you go. You're in the right place then. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
Perfect.
How about yourselves?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. We were just talking about how excited it's going to be when we get to shave something into Jeremy's beard later on.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could shave a name in, but I don't know if we can try that one. So
that's not part of the 12 design. So we'll let you off this time around.
There you go.
What is the Gunslinger? I'm not sure what that look is.
Well, the Gunslinger, from what we see, it's a lot like the Lemmy the Lemmy Motorhead type one, but without the mullet chops. Those are cut off, so it's the line down here, it comes up, it comes across. So I got to thin everything down and get rid of the chin there. So
Gotcha.
unless another one gets the vote, we'll see how that happens before Patreon starts. Hey, Daryl?
Yeah.
So that's going on there.
Bring it up.
Now, Ryan, and you said we could call you Bevy. That's what we should be calling you. Is that what you want to?
Yeah, most people call me Bevy, including my wife. I grew up with a bunch of Ryans, and none of us went by our first name. We all went by nicknames. So Bevy is, like part of my last name. Bevilacqua is Italian. It translates to drink the water. Bevy, like a beverage, la aqua. So
Okay.
Bevy's kind of stuck for about the last 30 years.
Perfect. All right. Well, there we go. Well, we mentioned off the top that you're from Guelph, and I did a little bit of research on Guelph, and it tells me that the city is known as the Royal City, Daryl.
Right.
And since one of the two of us is from Britain, I thought I would ask the British chap if you could guess why they called it the Royal City.
So the one thing I know about anything with the name Royal in it, so we have in England, we have the Royal Mail, which is like Canada Post.
Okay.
And we also have like the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy. So anything that has the name Royal in it has been appointed by the Queen or by the monarch.
Okay.
So that's the only way you get to call yourself something by royal.
Gotcha.
It's by royal appointment. That's the word I'm looking for, the phrase.
Hmm.
So I'm going to say that maybe sometime way back when one of the monarchs came to Canada and said, that looks like a nice place. You can be the royal city.
Okay. What about you, Bevy? Do you got any insight on that? Are you well versed on your Guelph history?
I'm not actually. I was born in Brampton, which is in Ontario, about an hour from here. So I'm not really sure why our club colors are royal purple because of it Guelph being the royal city. But no, I don't really have an answer here.
All right. Well, this is your history lesson with Chain Out Podcast, apparently. So, a popular Scottish novelist, John Galt, designed the town to attract settlers, and he designed it like a European city center, trying to get the farmers to come in and move into the city. You guys have a square and that type of thing. And the name Guelph was chosen because it's a family name of the British royal family, and it had never been used to name a city before. So, there you go.
So, Guelph is a royal name?
Yeah. Apparently, it's a royal family name.
There you go.
Yeah. And
the Galts are pretty well known, actually, in Guelph. There's John Galt House and a few different other things. So that makes sense.
Ah.
Oh, there you go. Well, I do have a little tie to...
Is this where we put that, the more you know?
Yes, exactly. The Reading Rainbow, something like that.
Yeah, my club members are going to be upset with me.
Well, now you'll know for the next time you're introducing the club to new players or something, you'll have a little bit of history for them. But Bevy, the last time I was through Guelph was a couple summers ago. I was going to a cousin's wedding, and we were going out to Elora Gorge, and I had a chance to drive through, and my son and I stopped and we played the Riverside course. And such a nice, beautiful little course there right by the river. Nice, has a little bit of length for some, but it's great for beginners. I thought that was a great area. We took a stop at the one end and checked out the little dam or the falls that are there. So
yeah, it's a beautiful little course and a popular park within the city, right? The park has many uses, so we get a lot of new players out of that course simply because they're walking at Riverside Park, right? It's a gorgeous part of Guelph.
Now, is that the place that you normally play when you're out there? Is that your kind of the popular one in Guelph, or is it one of the other outliers?
Yeah, we have lots. Luckily, there's the first course in Guelph was the Arboretum. That's been here for, I'm going to say, about 15 years or so. I went to the opener. I forget what year it was. It was a long time ago before everything was digitally recorded and whatnot. Then, Riverside was our second course. That was put in 2018. And now we have Victoria Park Valley, which is a private, it's a golf course, pay-to-play course. We sometimes have league there, but we get to host events there a bunch a year, which is great access. So there's a permanent 18-hole course there. We have a permanent 18 holes at Eastview Park, which is about a minute away from my house. That was newly put in, I guess, 3 years ago.
Okay.
And now we have another course, another 9-hole course is being put in at Martin Park this year. So that's expected to be maybe part of provincials potentially because it being a new course.
There you go.
Well, and to give everybody an idea, I didn't look up this fact, but how big is Guelph? What's the population approximately? Do you know?
On the spot here,
Is it 100,000 or is it less? Do you think? Or
it's over 100,000. I'm gonna say 160, something
okay.
like that.
Well, that's a lot of courses, right? When you think when he's rattling them off there and how many we have in the Edmonton area, I think we say we have about a dozen or so, and we're 1 million people,
Right.
and he's got 160, and he's already halfway at least there.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it was somewhere around, I mean, as of 2022, I wouldn't be able to tell you a more recent number, but I would say it was somewhere around 149,942.
Wow.
If you wanted me to give you a number.
Just for you to hypothesize, give or take.
Give or take a person or two. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, that's a little bit about Guelph there, Bevy, but now it's time to find out how you got into disc golf, but we're going to do it the chain out way. Okay. So we've created an origin story based for you on a movie that may or may not be anything like how you got into disc golf. And while we regale this tale, sit back, relax. Our listeners and yourself can try and guess the movie at the end that we went to. And then you can tell us how the story really happened. And Daryl, try not to make me laugh this week.
I won't. Go
Okay,
for it.
Here we go. All right, Bevy, maybe you found disc golf at a young age and quickly became a rookie sensation, albeit a headstrong one. Your throws were a sight to see and flew so fast they were like bolts of lightning. Ka-chow! In 2008, you were traveling down to Wisconsin to be the next world champion when you got a flat tire and ended up in Guelph, Ontario. You were in such a rush to get out of there, but you had to wait 2 days for that new tire to show up. During that time, you learned the town was named after the McQueen's family, and you met some local kids who were throwing discs in a dirt field. The town had seen better days. You saw the potential in the kids. Your heart softened, and your priorities changed. You taught the kids, you used your construction skills to build a course and start the Little Hyzers Tour. You met your new best mate, and the town of Guelph awarded you the Discton Cup for your efforts.
He did what in his cup?
Now, maybe that's not quite how you got into disc golf, but why don't you tell us how it really happened?
Sure. In 2003, some friends were like, "Hey, we found this game. Bring your ultimate disc." And it happened to be at White Spruce Park, which is park I grew up in, and that was in Brampton, Ontario. It was a park I grew up in. Part of like my old tree fort, I think, is still in part of that park. It's nowhere near where the disc golf course is, but I spent a lot of time there in my youth. Used to toboggan down part of the disc golf course. So I was like, oh, cool, let's go try. And we went out there with ultimate discs, got hooked immediately because we were all golfers prior to that and played a bit of ultimate.
Yeah.
So it just seemed natural to us, I guess. Then we thought we kind of invented the sport. Really, nobody was there. There were very few people on the course at all. Then we met some locals, saw them doing work on the course. Thought that was awesome. We started helping them. We joined the club, and then we started meeting other people outside of the one course and learning that there were more courses. Back then, there wasn't UDisc, so we used to use the Disc Golf Ontario forum, and it was a forum that had, I think, all maybe 12 courses that were installed at that time, maybe something like that in 2003 in Ontario. That don't quote me, but there weren't a lot, and they were like hand drawn maps, right? To kind of give people directions on where to go, right? It's so awesome what we have now. But anyway, through that, I found the OD Tour, the Ontario Disc Golf Tour, and it was a way to travel and meet new players. I felt like I knew most of the people playing back then because there weren't that many. There really weren't. There was hundreds, right?
Yeah.
And now there's so many. It's amazing, right? The way the sport's grown. But the OD Tour was very instrumental with growing my love and passion for the game. Started helping out locally in the club there, and then moved to Guelph in 2014. And the club here was established in 2019. I wasn't really part of it. I was going back to Brampton playing with my friends for a long time because we only had the one course in town.
Right.
And I didn't really know the people that well either. So they established the club in 2019 and had an AGM. And I said, okay, why not join, right? They advertised it. And I realized they had something special here, and a great team of people trying to make things happen to grow the sport. And I joined the board after that, and no looking back. Now I'm part of many different facets in disc golf. And you mentioned some of them. I'm board member here in Guelph. I'm board member for the Ontario Disc Sports Association. I recently joined the Canadian Disc Golf Association, and also the PDGA Youth and Education Committee. I'm passionate about growing the game at the junior level, and volunteer my time to do it and grow this game we all love.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, there's a couple of things I just want to point out here. Robbie's in the chat. He says, "Bevy's the man, the myth, the legend."
Awesome.
There you go.
Robbie.
Yeah. So I want to go back to when you first started, when you first found disc golf in that spruce,
White spruce.
white spruce. Was there baskets back then, or was it tonals?
Yeah, there's 18 baskets, Innova baskets. The course designer, Buzzy Chains, I think, Glenn Forbes, Buzzy Chains was his name. I think he had a sponsorship or deal. I mean, there are only really a few companies that you could get this from. I mean, oddly enough, like there was no stores, there was nowhere to get it. I used to buy discs from Elaine King's trunk.
Oh, wow.
In Toronto, or Toronto area anyway, and frequent white spruce or other events that I used to attend. And I didn't know who she was back then, right? But yeah, that's how you got this, was from people's trunks. And
we've heard of that before.
Like that. So it's great.
Yeah, that's crazy that to think of that too, right? So now you can go online, you can go to a brick and mortar store in most major centers, or at least multiple ones. You find it even at Canadian Tire, but back then it was, I got 3 discs in my trunk. Which one would you like? You didn't get to pick a weight, you didn't get to pick a color, you didn't get every kind of disc that you could imagine, right?
Get to pick the stamp.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first started, a bunch of locals gave us like 20 discs to like 20 of my friends. A bunch of us all got hooked, and so they gave us all like one disc. So they were very generous, and I've always remembered that, and try to do the same with any new players I meet too. I try to always have an extra disc I can hand out. Playing so long, I've acquired quite a few. I don't give away these ones, but lots of other ones.
That's awesome. Yeah, it looks like you got quite the collection there behind you as well. Is there you got a favorite on the wall behind you?
Not really. Like the top few rows are all just autographed from pros, and then the rest of them are events I've either attended or ran. So they're all special to me. I can put up a lot more. I just kind of recently started making this. This is it's my Frolfus is what my family dubbed it. Because I'm a part of so many different things. There's a lot of these calls and talking disc golf. I love it. It's why I do so much of it. Really passionate about it. But so I've kind of created the space. So if we chat again, the Frolfus may change. It's a spare bedroom in my basement, but it might be covered in discs one day.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, now this is an off the wall bit of question, especially when I ran it by Daryl. He's like, "Really, you've got that question?" And what it is I grew up in Ontario. I was from London, and I know one of the things about small town Ontario areas is that everybody still has a big water tower. And the one thing I remember by driving past the Guelph water tower is it's one of those ones that's got a big staircase on it, has a platform and all that stuff. Have you ever thought of it? Have you thought of climbing up there with an M4, maybe a PA3, and just ripping one off the top and seeing how far it would really go?
It sounds like you know my bag, but no, not really. I'm kind of afraid of heights, to be honest. So no, that's not my thing.
All right. Well, Daryl, why don't we get into something a little more serious? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of touched on it there. we like to talk about different ways to grow disc golf in Canada. We recently had Alicia Hums on the podcast last week, and she talked about bringing disc golf to the youth and schools in a great way to grow the sport. You're also doing your part to grow the sport with the youth through the Little Hyzers Tour. Can you tell us a little bit about that tour?
Yeah, sure. I joined, first of all, I joined the ODSA in 2014, and they had already kind of started the Little Hyzers initiative. In 2024, they covered all registration for the Ontario Junior Championships. So that was a great thing. And then we decided we wanted to build on that this year. So um, I'm not sure if either of you are familiar with Carl or Nico Forbes, but
Oh
they
yeah.
have like Nico's Drive has been a thing for, this will be 4 or 5 years now, and it was a series of junior events that they did. They went around and kind of helped host. So I this year, the first Little Hyzers event is Nico's Drive Guelph on May 10th here in Riverside Park that you mentioned.
Yeah.
This will be our 4th year doing that with Carl and Nico. There's Carl's part of the Little Hyzers committee. So is Angelica Haggart and Chris Zolins and other people from the ODSAs. So we've got discs, we've got players packs that we're covering for all the kids, kind of coordinating all these events, and it's free disc golf for juniors across the province.
Wow.
It's a great thing to be a part of. They kind of, when I joined the ODSA, they said, "Would you like to be a part of this or run this?" And kind of handed me like a gift, right? How it's a win. Everybody loves to support juniors, and a great way to grow the game. We're just really excited. The first event, Nico's Drive Guelph, already has 26 juniors registered, and what we
Awesome.
anticipate more signing up last minute because it's free. Like there's no commitment now, right? They can
Yeah.
even just show up and get to play. So I'm really looking forward to kicking this off. It's been a lot of planning, but it's all coming to fruition soon. So
Yeah.
thank you for reaching out to me and shedding some light on that.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
definitely. Well, looking at those events too, as we've had a chance over this past year, we've done a lot of coverage on the Canadian A tiers and that type of thing. And when I'm looking at some of the courses that the juniors are going to play at, they look familiar. They're going to Project 15, Daryl.
Right.
And they're also going to Eddyville, which maybe not everybody out here knows. I know in Ontario you would, but that's where the Eastern Canadian AMs are held. And when we talked about that tournament last year, it just sounds like quite the event, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then also too, I think you're doing the championships for it. That's going to be down in Paris, and I believe that's probably the same course that Brooklyn Okrafka plays a lot, right? Because I think she's from the area.
Correct. Yeah, Brooklyn's actually part of the team. So for each event, we have like a TD team or set of hosts.
Right.
I'm like the main or primary TD. Other events we have a group or an individual or the landowner. That's all helping to be a part and help facilitate it. So yeah, it really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome to hear because we've done 2 junior episodes. We did one from Western Canada and in Eastern Canada. We spoke to Nico, we spoke to Brooklyn, and also we spoke to Rebecca Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
3 great juniors that now look like they're just taking everything to that next level, right? They're not just going out there and playing disc golf. They're out there, they're running tournaments, they're being part of TD, the TD team. Rebecca's obviously doing her things, going down to, south of the border and cashing down there. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, all these juniors coming from Canada. We've said it before, but the future does look bright.
Yes.
Rebecca Dawn's first event was a Nico's Drive event, right?
Okay.
Nico and Brooklyn are all products of these junior programs, and it's going to create great Canadian players, right?
Yeah.
Start them young, start them early. So I'm excited to provide that. The ODSA is excited to provide that. I should also mention PDGA Canada helped out with some of the fundraising for this too. They're supporting us as well, so it's great. There's lots of people helping it. For
Yeah.
a
Great.
phenomenal cause.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I guess another thing too is, so if there's any disc golfers listening who have kids who are kind of interested in it and they might want to think about joining that tour. Now, is there a requirement? Do they have to be a PDGA member, or is it pretty much you just show up, you register, and even if you don't know the rules and stuff, like if you're a brand new player, is it open to those types of players as well?
Of course. I mean, that's what it's for. There's MJFJ6 to MJFJ18.
Mhm.
All you have to be is age requirement for that
Right.
to actually show up and play. We also have a adult junior best shot doubles round in the afternoon too.
Okay.
So like a parent and kid can play, or adult and kid. It doesn't have to be a parent. Can
Mhm.
play as a in best shot doubles round for fun as well. So that's an actual an added prize.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sounds
and
great.
I was gonna say, I'm sure too, Bevy, from the way you were talking earlier too, is if a player shows up and they don't even have a disc, they don't even have a frisbee with them, there's probably going to be a handful of them around that they could get out on the course with.
We're giving them out, right? So they don't need to. They can show up with nothing.
Yeah,
So yeah, for sure. They have everything they need to start.
that's
There
fantastic.
you go.
Yeah,
Take down all those barriers.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at it from the other side, and you do look at the players like Nico and like Brooklyn who have really fallen into disc golf and are really, that's their sport and they're trying to grow themselves in it, with these events and finishing off with a championship for them, is there tour points that they'll collect or anything like that? Or is it anybody who wants to participate in the championship that could be their first event, or do they need to earn their way there?
Anybody can be there. They don't have to earn their way. There's no barriers. No,
That's awesome.
more the merrier. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is we have way more juniors participate in this than we anticipated, and we just have to buy more players pack items. We're excited to kick this off, and yes, welcome to all.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I think, you know what, I really recognize the more we talk to people from Ontario is having ODSA there and having them backing a lot of this is such a big thing. So out here in Alberta, we've got the Cold Garden Tour that Jordan Alway's building. And that's trying to unite the province. We have some really strong clubs, like the Edmonton Club is really strong, the Calgary, the Central Alberta. They're all pretty big that way, but we don't have that overarching club that's pulling everything together. And just seeing what you guys can do when you have a good strong club like ODSA is amazing. And I know Oz is a big part of that, and it's just really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pieces there too, but yes, for sure, Chris is instrumental in everything, right? I'm still new there. I haven't even quite been a full year. It'll be a year in a couple weeks, so I'm still learning while working with different things. I also help with the Ontario Tour Committee, so that's all our competition standards and requirements that we create to then select who can be part of that tour as well, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great things happening at the ODSA, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot better than ODSA, I think. ODSA.
OGSA, yeah. Ontario Discourse Association.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. So we mentioned the Little Hyzers Tour. That's one way to grow disc golf with the youth, but that's not the only thing that you're doing. We mentioned it also a little bit earlier that you're part of the PDGA Youth and Education Committee. You want to tell us a little bit about your role on the board there, what you're doing on that?
Sure. Yeah, I've been on part of that for the last 4 months or so. I don't know if you're aware, but the PDGA has a scholastic grant that you can apply for if you're forming a school club or team. And so we now then get these applications and review them and decide, yes, we can give the grant, or no, we will not. The grants are for $500. So
Yeah.
So that's like 1,000 Canadian, right?
yeah, close.
Yeah.
Part of that committee, I mean, is Jay Redding, who
Right.
is Edge, right? And also Zoe Endyke, who's with Uplay. So these are both organizations that are, work in partnership with the PDGA to get discs into kids' hands, get them into schools. It's not easy to do that. I've had some success here in Guelph, and that's kind of where my desire to join the PDGA Youth and Education Committee came from. I've also had failures too. A recent event I wanted to have at my son's school. It was all set up and good to go, but the school board didn't want that. So that's something I'm hoping to change and grow, and so get that exposure to, the school wants us there, but the school board doesn't. So it just be persistent and keep doing that. We try to work with like youth groups, like Girl Guides, Scout,
Right.
any youth groups like that. You can reach out, with your club, via the ODSA, via the PDGA Youth and Education Committee, and just try to get that exposure to juniors, right? My goal one day is to try to have disc golf as part of the curriculum at school and their
Yeah.
schools, and we're
Why
working
not?
towards that for sure.
Yeah. I'm just curious. You don't need to call out the school or anything like that, but I'm just curious. Like, what was the reasoning that the school board gave that they didn't want disc golf as part of a part of the school? Like, it seems like a no brainer to me. Like, get kids active, get them outside, learn them a new sport, a cheap and easy sport, relatively cheap and easy.
Yeah,
What was the barrier? Why? What was their negative approach?
liability, to be short. I mean, I'm also
Right.
a member of the school council, so I was doing
Wow.
it. The event was going to be my son and I putting it on as a fundraiser so that they could buy equipment for anything, not necessarily disc golf equipment, but just
Right.
equipment, right? So liability, even though I was doing it through the Guelph Disc Golf Club, which has liability insurance.
Right.
That wasn't good. I also told them that the PDGA also offers that for events, because I had it sanctioned as an XC tier, which is like
Okay.
a new designation that the PDGA offers, which is,
Yeah.
for charity events or different stuff like that. So you have to meet a certain threshold with what you provide and whatnot. But something I was hoping to create for that event. So
Right.
anyway, liability. Bit
Yeah.
scared still, but I'm going to change that. There's a lot of good people working to change that, so it will happen.
Good.
There you go.
Yeah.
At least it's something to look forward if anyone else out there tries to set it up. If that's another barrier that they run into, then obviously they have those answers. PDGA provides it, and obviously the Disc Golf Association should have their own liability anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure. They also have like the collegiate program at the PDGA too. So Alexis Kerman, who was running that, is also part of the Youth and Education Committee. So
Right.
we're working on things and trying to make these barriers a lot easier to get into schools and
Yeah.
make it happen there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and as you said too, is there's that Scholastic Club grant program as well. Now, at first, when Daryl and I saw that, from our memory, we were like, "Isn't that when you go to school with some money from mom and dad and you buy a book or two?" But
Yeah.
but yeah, with having that grant available and getting discs into schools, is it pretty much as long as it's going towards disc golf? It could be for some baskets for the field or at the school, as long as it's focused to promote disc golf. Is that how it works?
Yeah, there's a bunch of factors, but it's pretty clear. It's all written out, for what we're looking for when we're evaluating these grants. But it can go to baskets, it can go to jerseys, it could, discs, whatever really you need. But it is on the basis that you're forming a school club or team. So that's also, one of the main goals. Or they like that you're looking to actually create one too.
Right.
If it's a new school club, that's exciting, right? That
Yeah.
looked good to the PDGA. But also, we also have to factor how many come in from Canada, or sorry, like the US versus internationally, right? Because they have so much funding that can go towards this. And, being that the majority of the PDGA player base is from the United States, the majority of the funding is going to that. I could share that there's been 3 Canadians are already awarded this year, so
Okay.
that's
Okay.
that
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I look forward to reviewing more applications. It's not just me. There's, I think 9 of us in the Youth and Education Committee. Plus, there's always a few other PDGA board members sitting in as well. So there's it's a great group of people to talk disc golf with and
Mm-hmm.
decide where we can help.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, and with that too, then I'm assuming that it's going to the PDGA website, searching for the youth grant or the Scholastic Club grant. Is that the best way to find it, and you can put your application in there, or is there? Yeah. Okay. Not
Sure.
good.
You could Google it, PDGA Scholastic Grant, and you'll find it'll be the first thing you come up. That's what I did, and before I joined the Youth and Education Committee, was awarded one. So it's pretty simple. There's a little budget they ask for as well. So we want to know what you're intending to spend the money on
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we want to move on a little bit here from that. And now I'm going to read Jeremy's notes here. It says, like so many people in our sport, 2 hats is not enough. But I think we've established now that you're up to about 4 or 5 or 6 hats that you wear at different jobs that you do. But
That's why I love the podcast. We learn so much more than we even thought we knew, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But we recently understand, I think you mentioned it earlier, that you've joined Can Disc Golf as well. So you want to tell us a little bit about the role that you're doing in that organization?
And then we'll say in your, what did you call it? A disc office? Is that
The
what the Frolfus? Yeah. So yeah.
The Frolfus. Yeah. So that's fun. I'm just learning right now with Can Disc Golf and trying to help where I can. Main goal is becoming a registered NSO. That will help all the other provincial and territorial umbrellas underneath just grow and get more power and access to grants and funding and
So just for
the sport.
those people that don't know,
Right.
what's an NSO?
Oh, like like a national sports organization. So it's recognized by, like, it would have to be recognized by like Canada, or Can Disc Golf is recognized by the PDGA, but not by the government of Canada. So that's
Right. Okay.
with that, then we can get grants and help grow the sport, build courses, all kinds of things. But right now, there's like the World Games and a whole bunch of different topics that we've been leading up to. There's a few people that are going to be going to that. I think I'm privy to share who, but we have male and female representative going to China soon, so that's pretty exciting.
Yes.
And
Well,
so like I said, I'm still kind of learning with that organization, but happy to kind of help and contribute how I can.
Do you actually have a title? Are you just part of the?
I'm just part of the group.
Okay.
And we just accepted someone else who's joining us on our next call too. So I'm not going to share that just yet, but
Nice.
We're going to try to keep growing and doing what we can to make this happen.
Yeah, never be afraid. You can always drop exclusive content on here. We don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and we did have Max Rogitnik on the show not that long ago, and we did talk a little bit about the World Games with him, and we asked him, is that something he would go to? Because knowing that there's only going to be one person representing each side there, and he said, well, I think there might be one Thomas Gilbert that unless he's sick or something happens to him, that if he wants to go, he can go. And then we were speculating, we've got Miss Frisbees, we got Sophia Donica. The nicest thing is that we've got enough people that it is actually a decision and it's a choice. It's not like there's only one person out there who could go. We just saw that in Australia with WIFDIF and the team that we put together. It was fantastic, and there wasn't a weak link on that team. And there was still probably at least half a dozen more people who could have gone in the backups and everything else. So it is amazing that you guys are going to have a hard decision. Maybe not that difficult, but you still have to make a decision, which is going to be great.
Right. So we kind of had to make like a matrix for how we're going to come about our decision too. You can't just say, well, I know Thomas better, or Thomas is on TV, he's going to be the one that goes. So you have to, come up with a process for what's the best way to do this and the fairest way, player ratings. There's a bunch of different factors, right? But all the people you mentioned were in consideration for who gets to go and represents, so.
Well, and from what we understand too, Bevy, is that this World Games in Chengdu, China, that's going to be happening is such a big event in the fact that it is kind of a precursor to trying to get disc golf in the Olympics and to have it as an event that could be a feature sport or something like that. And it's the first time that disc golf has been there since I believe it was like 2008 or 2004, something like that. It was Ultimate's been there every World Games, but disc golf is making its triumphant return at this games.
Right. It is a big deal. So, we're excited to be a part of that and help facilitate that and get people there.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Daryl, we had a pretty important person on the podcast. I know we're dropping names, but it's not on purpose. It's all related to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. Yeah, we recently spoke to, I say recently, we had PDGA International Director. We had Brian Henniger on the podcast.
Mhm.
We spoke to him, and he was talking about the importance of Can Disc Golf and the need for the organization to assist with those national bids, the WIFDIF, and other large events, things like that. What have you been told, or what do you know is the Can Disc's mission?
Mission?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
just to facilitate, like somebody when they have these games and these things, somebody has to be the contact, right?
Right.
For the country, right? So we are cool to be that, and then try to fundraise and get our athletes there to go represent our country, right, and make us proud.
Yeah.
We're fortunate to have some great players here, and we want to get exposure and get them to these events.
Right.
Definitely. Now, I know you're still new to this, but we always have so much questions about Can Disc Golf because we know Craig Schuther has done a lot to get that started, and it's just kind of getting into that ramping up phase with bringing you on and bringing more people on. But one of the things about it is it helps to choose where Nationals is, and I don't know how much you know about this just from all your experience, but with Nationals, what people may not understand is that there is a bidding process and then there is a choosing process. But we want to get an idea. Is there a lot of bids that come in, do you know, or is it, depending on the year, that type of thing?
I can't say. This is
Okay.
before my time, and like I said, I've only had a couple calls with them.
Right.
Speaking to Craig, like he's overseas, so a call with Craig sometimes could be a bit choppy. So
Right.
I've caught bits and pieces what Craig's been saying a lot. Sometimes not the whole story, but
Gotcha.
like I said, I'm still learning. I can't really speak to exactly how that was done.
Well, we'll give you a few more months or so on, and maybe we'll bring you back on another show and talk about
There
it.
you go.
But yeah, that's what
It's
some for sure. Well, that's one of those things that we think about with it because I don't think people realize that in order to host nationals, like you think about what's happening this year, it's an over 500 person event. I think 528 or something that we're at. It's being held at 4 different courses, organizing with 4 different course owners and groups to put it together. So there's not that many cities that have those high, and it's a high quality set of courses too. So you got to have a high quality course. You got to have a strong volunteer group just to put a bid in. And yeah, so I think there's a lot that maybe we could teach the listeners about once you get a little bit more knowledge, and we'll have the questions ready for you.
Well, I mean, the demographics right there, right? You need to be able to facilitate 400 to 500 people potentially, right? Not
Mhm.
a lot of places have that within an hour, right?
Mm.
There are areas that do, and there's more and more coming, but for now, that does limit your options significantly, right? For who can host and who can't, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you about the organization altogether because I'm just on the website right now. You mentioned about that you recently joined and that there was another person recently joining as well. Like, how did you go about applying for the job? Like, was it just a word of mouth thing, or because I don't see any, career opportunities or job offers on the website? So, how did you get involved in joining?
Kind of. I sent an email a while ago, and then I also was privy to know that a few members of the ODSA are members of CanDisc as well. So they kind of got me in through that, since meeting me and knowing who I am and what I can help with. They figured I'd be a good help for the group as well.
Right. Okay. I know we spoke to Brian Henniger, and I know Sonia had mentioned it as well. I think Brian had said that they needed somebody more active with their social media.
Yes. So if there's two
Okay.
people in this podcast, if you're still looking for that role, one of them is probably able to help you out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on social media for Facebook anyway, so maybe that is something I could help the group with.
There you go.
There you go. Well, I think we've covered hopefully all the different committees and organizations and groups that you're with at the moment. Did we hit them all?
I don't know. Is there something else that you're hiding, that you've got another hat that in your back pocket that you take some more time to do?
I mean, uh, like my position with the Guelph Disc Golf Club is I'm the director and chair of the Junior Development Committee. Um, so I don't know if I mentioned that, but not really. I run tons of events here in Guelph, and now with the Little Hyzers Tour too. I love the game and specifically love hosting events for people. Seeing all those people smile and have a good time, and uh, is something that I've always enjoyed. And so I play casually. I don't play in many tournaments. I run them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that interests me more than playing in them. I guess maybe because I'm older and I've lost my competitive edge, or I'm not sure why. But I got this position with the Guelph Disc Golf Club after, I think, in 2022. I was like the co-chair of the events committee. At first was my first board position there, but we wanted to create this position, and it seemed like I was a logical choice to take it at the time through our board, and been kind of running with it. And with that, now Little Hyzers Tour and PDGA Youth and Education Committee, really trying to drive our sport forward through the youth. And
Yeah.
I'm going to do the best I can.
Sounds like you're doing a great job.
Yes. And Bevy, I got another question for you. A lot of times when we have our Canadian pros on the show, we'll ask them for a pro tip, especially because we're MA40 hacks that we're out there doing. So we'll take any help they can give us. Yeah, there you go. But when we've got you on here, Daryl is actually running his first tournament. So with all your tournament directing experience for Daryl, for me, and for other tournament directors out there listening, I will be one day. That's why I said that. Do you have one or two pro tips on tournament directing that you've learned over the years?
Pro tip. I mean, it pays to have a list.
Okay.
Run off a list and be organized. It's like a PDGA tournament, unsanctioned tournament. I mean,
Anyone in
the one that I'm doing is an unsanctioned tournament. Yeah. I thought I'd start easy.
Yeah, exactly. So don't worry, it could be whatever you'd like it to be. That's the beauty of an unsanctioned event, for the most part anyway, right? Within what's legal. But
Yeah.
run off a list, get support. It helps to have a team, right? Even if you have one or two people that can help just to bounce ideas off of the plan, and start small maybe, right? You
Yeah.
can always grow. I've run a Halloween glow in the dark event called the Jangalaqua. This will be Jangalaqua 18 this year. So we've done it 17 years now. And it's just random double glow in the dark every Devil's Night, October 30th at White Spruce Park.
Right.
And last year we had 122 people show up.
Wow.
Holy crow.
To play disc golf in the dark on a Wednesday night, right? It was October 30th. So, or I don't know if it was Wednesday, but it was a weeknight, right?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. But things grow. They can grow organically, so let it be a learning experience. I've learned every tournament I've done, and I've made mistakes probably every tournament I've done too.
Right.
Don't feel bad about it. Disc golfers are great people. We are
Yes.
lucky. 99% of disc golfers are great people. We're fortunate that a lot of people that gravitate towards the sport are good people in life, and they'll forgive you, they'll help you. Reach out.
Yeah. I hope so.
Those are my pro tips. That was more than one, but
mine is just a 3-disc an event. So we had, we're dropping all these names, Jeremy. We had Casey Hannemeyer on a couple episodes ago, quite a few episodes ago. I asked him because he's running his Rocket Bear series. So I asked him for some tips, and he basically said it's a 3-disc challenge. As long as the people get their discs, they're going to be happy. So, as long as they get their discs, but there's no more, they can really complain more than that.
So order them at least 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you've got them. They've shown up, so you're okay.
Yeah,
right?
it's in 2 weeks' time. So I've got the discs. We're coming down to the wire now. There's
Just
18 spots left.
there we go. Nice.
Yeah. There you go.
Good. Well, Daryl,
For you.
I kind
Thank
of
you.
wanted to bring it up about the number 3. We were kind of talking about it. There's more hats that he wears, but 3 was kind of an interesting number to me. It's even kind of like a magical number. I've heard that good news can come in 3s.
Right.
Tonight we mentioned that there's 3 Nico's Drive tournaments on the Little Hyzers Tour.
Yeah.
We talked about the 3+ hats that Bevy wears.
Yeah.
There are 3 of us on the show tonight.
There is.
And when we get close to the end of one of our Chain Out episodes, it naturally leads us back to something that involves 3.
Back to number 3.
Yeah.
That's a different one, Jeremy. I like it today.
You've taken a relaxing cruise, however the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island. Fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
So there we go. We got there in the end. That was a bit of a detour, that one. I didn't see that one coming.
I like to try and mix it up a little
Yeah.
every now and then.
So this is the part of the show, the disc golf, the desert island discs. You're on this cruise. It's gone down. You swim to this fictitious island that everybody seems to make up their own theory on what this island looks like. You've got 3 discs with you. Which 3 discs do they happen to be?
If I happen to have them with me, can I share them and show them too?
Oh, absolutely. We love it.
If
when
that was
happens.
that convenient. Wow. See, he's ready. He's got a go bag.
Yeah.
These are, let me get in front of my camera. These are brand new 300 Ultra Soft.
Okay.
Yeah. Just, so nice.
Got me, yeah.
Just got them this year and coming to the island with me for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Got to have a good putter.
So which disc is that?
It's a Prodigy PA3.
A PA3.
Yeah.
Okay. So an ultra soft PA3.
In 300 Ultra Soft plastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Going with another Prodigy disc here.
Yeah.
This is an M4.
There you go.
One of my favorites.
But Air Spectrum plastic. It just flies dead straight. Would be a good catch disc as well on the
Right.
island. And then when if I gotta try to knock some fruit out of a tree or something and throw a fast flyer out there, I'm gonna go with my D3 Air, another Prodigy disc here.
Sweet.
It's lightweight. Prodigy's air plastic's so good for like distance with like AM40 noodle arms like myself. So I can really get those high trees.
There you go. So 308 Ultra Soft PA3.
Yep.
An Air M4
Mm-hmm.
and an Air D3.
That sounds like a pretty good setup.
There you go. Yeah. And then one little thing that we've added to this segment, when you get to this island, if you could transport one course to this island, so this is the only course that you get to play until you get rescued, which course would you be looking to play?
Oh, that's a tough one. You're putting me on the spot.
Out of all the questions we've asked you, and it normally goes this way with all our guests.
Well,
when we get to this point in the show, when we ask them this question, they're not ready for it, and they're like, "Oh man, this is a tough question. I don't know if I can pick just one."
Well, and you know what it is Bevy, as Daryl will say to me, he's like, "Don't give the guests too much heads up on what we're going to ask them. You got to keep some secrets." So
we like to get some true reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which course?
I have to go with White Spruce Park in Brampton. Is my home course, even though not my home anymore. I grew up there. It's what made me fall in love with disc golf. So yeah, White Spruce.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I love your choice of discs. I can't believe 2 of the ones I said you might throw off the top of the water tower actually made it in your Desert Islands bag. So that's good. I've actually got it. Yeah, I've actually got an M4 waiting for me down at Spring Runoff in Lethbridge. Noah Higgins has got his brand new stamp with that on the Fractal M4. I can't wait to pick that up down there. So I'm sure there's a couple straight shots that are required at the courses, and I know that one will come in handy. It could be one of those ones where I've never thrown it, and it's going to go straight, right? So
for sure. Right out of the box. That's what I love about them.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, Bevy, before we let you go, we do want to turn the floor over to you so that you can shout out any sponsors, or if there was something that we missed that you wanted to throw out quickly, now's the time for that.
Shout out to Prodigy Discs and Prodigy Disc Canada. I'm on their ambassador team. I'm happy to be part of that team. They support me and a lot of the events I put on for the disc golf public, and a great company to be a part of. Shout out to all my Guelph disc golf friends, White Spruce friends, really all of Disc Golf Ontario, the ODSA, Canadian Disc Golf Association, PDGA Youth and Education Committee. There's, even the people out there that play casually and just have a good time, come to leagues, events, and, we all grow the sport, and, I appreciate all of you and all you do to help.
Perfect.
There you go. It's a great shout out.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were looking at nationals, because me and Jeremy are heading out there later this year, we saw that you're playing in the MA40 division as well. So we'll be playing in the MA40 division.
Mm-hmm.
So we look forward to maybe,
Yep.
we're saying that if we get to play up a little bit, if we get to play good enough, maybe we might be actually get it to be on the same card as you.
One of my nicknames was kind of like bottom card Bevy, so it also could be playing down to me as well. Right?
Well, you never know.
There you go. Well, Bevy, it's funny, when we were talking about goals at the beginning of the year, I said to somebody, I think it was a local FPO, I said, she's like, what's your goal for the year? I'm like, I want to be on Chase card this year. She's like, I was setting those goals really high. I'm like, that is actually pretty high for me to be on the Chase card. So So yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see you there. We can't wait to play those courses. Everything we're hearing, because I think the three of us are set up for Newcastle, Cedar Creek, and Project 15. And then, of course, doing the Wombat Challenge or something at Hoke Goat. We're going to play all 4 courses, and we can't wait to get out there and do that.
Oh yeah. We're looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet you face to face and battle those courses with you.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Well, Bevy, thanks so much. If you have anything else that comes up that you want us to shout out or something down the road, just let us know. But we appreciate you coming on tonight, and keep doing all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. It was fun being here.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, Daryl. Tonight's guest, I really was amazed when we talked about the 3 hats and everything that he's wearing.
Yeah.
It was like he's wearing 10 hats. I don't even know how he's got the time. We're talking about, we're doing a podcast. We play in league. You're organizing a 3-disc event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, man, how do you got all the time to do all that? And look at what he's doing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he finds the time. I don't know. It's just baffling to me.
And it's also great too, is just seeing.
He has a very understanding wife as well.
There you go. Yeah. But on top of that too, it's just like when people get into disc golf, they really get into disc golf, and what he's doing, especially on the youth side. Like we talk about Andrea Michaud, one of our listeners who is doing so much for women's disc golf and for new disc golfers. Kristen and Zoe are also working on the women's side. Andy Seawright working with queer disc golf and building that. Like everybody's in these different niches, and it's so good to see somebody who's focused on the youth initiative, because I think, as we both talked about before, that's what's really going to grow this sport in Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. And at this point, if you still are, you better be subscribed to that YouTube channel. Get over there, subscribe, click the bell for us. It really supports us and helps us a lot. Go out to Instagram and follow us there. If you put comments, you do likes, you tag people in them, especially our Canadian players and pros. We like that because we like to see them get some love too.
Yeah.
But if you've done all of that, one of the things that you can do for us is you can go out and check our Patreon and join at any level, including free. You can support us that way. Or if you wanted to support us on a one-time, you can go over to our link tree and find a way to buy us a beer. We always like our beers.
We do.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Even though we haven't had a beer for quite a while on the podcast.
No, not too often. We that was part of our get in fighting shape mode, was to cut the alcohol down a bit, right?
There you go.
Yeah. And then we've always got codes for you because you guys support us. We try to support you back. So our sponsors, BR Disc Golf and Cardinal Disc Golf, you can use the code CHAINOUT and get 10% off there. You can also use the code CHAINOUT and get 25% off Chains, the disc golf board game. And you can go over to Goat Towel and use the code COP15 and get 15% off your order there.
So many discounts, Jeremy.
It is amazing. So
thank you to everybody that supports us.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you to all of our Patreon members who are already supporting us. We appreciate that. And in about 15 minutes, around 15 minutes, we'll be doing Around the Basket. So head over to our Patreon, get that link. Daryl has our funpillation or our highlight reel.
I'm still working on the second reel.
Yeah, but there's so much good that you can see over and over again in the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So go over there. Do we want to see really quickly where the Patreon vote is? Is it the Gunslinger?
Oh yeah,
Maybe we should do that, because that's the other reason to head over to Patreon, because in between this episode and the next episode, you're going to see a brand new Jeremy, and we'll see if that's the look that maybe somebody like Brock, who has a nice flowing beard, wants to change into.
Yeah.
Or,
well, do we want the final answer?
Do we have a final answer?
We have a final answer at the moment.
All right, so get over to Patreon and check it out. But until then, Daryl, I was going to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
And what that was, you know, when I'm on the course, last night I was at league night, had a great league night. One of the reasons was I hooked up with Mike Carey, the league organizer. Right. And I know this can be contentious, but it's a fun league. It's not super competitive, right?
The roaming rec league.
Yeah. So he's got music playing.
Oh, okay.
And he was playing a lot of 80s music, and I'm really getting back into a lot of it. I've been listening to Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
And I've been loving Dreams, like, you know, that song, or Go Your Own Way. Like these songs, they're classic, timeless ones. But one of the ones that I was really listening to, and I think would be a great way to end the show, was they have this song called The Chain. Out.
I wasn't ready for that. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. See you in a bit.